how much money do you need to flip a house? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what costs to expect when flipping a house, how much cash you really need to start, and how to do your first deal even if you don't have all the money yourself. People always ask, Glenn, how much money do I need to flip a house? And the truth is, it's probably a lot less than you think. Most people assume that flipping is only for the rich. In this episode, I'm breaking down exactly how much you need and how to get started even if your savings account is close to zero. The confusion with this topic comes in the name. When people say real estate investing, you assume you have to have money to invest. Well, real estate is one of the very few investments where you can actually use other people's money to invest in your deals and still get the same return. Of course, having your own money does help, but as you get bigger, you'll find you'll want to leverage other people's money to grow your flipping empire. So let's bust right through the you need $100,000 or more to flip a house. You do need money, make no mistake about it. It just doesn't have to be your money. You've done this already. Have you bought a house? Have you bought a car? Do you use a credit card? Well, if you're doing that, you're already using other people's money to fund some type of purchase, right? You just didn't know that you can use it to build wealth. So now we've covered that, let's talk about the actual costs involved with flipping a house. There's 4 major costs in every flip. The first one, you have to buy the house. So you need money to purchase the house, but there's also closing costs that go along with that. So you need money for purchase and closing. The next is the rehab costs. You need cash to be able to renovate that property, whether it's a basic renovation or a rather elaborate renovation. You still need the money to be able to do that. Now you need what I call holding costs. That's the silent killer of every real estate deal. It's all the costs that are incurred because you own a piece of property. Things like insurance, taxes, interest on the loan. These are things that are accruing behind the scenes all the time while you own that property. You're going to pay for every day that you own a piece of property, so be prepared for that in advance with your cash. Now the fun part is selling the house, but there are costs that come along with that. You're going to have a real estate agent that you're paying to sell that house. You are also going to have the house cleaned. You're going to have professional photography done. You have to have professional photographs done. Don't forget all the basic stuff like the dumpsters and the lock boxes and the signs you want to put outside and anything else that goes along with the house. Those all are part of the cost of flipping a house. Now, if you use an institutional lender or a hard money lender or some type of creative finance, there might be some times when you have to have some of your own money come to the table. That is what we call a bridge loan. A hard money lender may loan you 70, 80, or 90% of the purchase price, and sometimes they can go up to 100% of the renovation cost. But whatever they are not willing to lend, you have to come up with that money yourself. The good news is, if you know how to do this, you don't have to use your own money for that. You can still use private lenders, people's credit cards, whatever it takes to get that deal done so you're not putting a lot of your own money into the deal, but you may have to have some cash in the deal to get that done. So what you will need is cash to cover the closing costs. There's always fees associated with closing a deal. You'll have to have cash for your carrying costs, making sure you're paying for your utilities, paying for your insurance payments, or whatever else comes along. Some lenders are going to want interest payments every month. That's part of the cash that goes out the door, so be prepared for that. And here's a part people don't tell you. When you take money from a lender that's going to loan you money for the renovation costs, most of the time they're paying you in what we call draws. Well, that means that you have to have the work completed in a phase, then they'll reimburse you for what you paid. Reimburse means you have to have cash in the first place, right? So you may have to cover those first few payments. It might be a few $1,000s before they send you your first draw check. So these are all cash needs you're going to have as a real estate investor. Let me tell you how I avoid bringing any cash to the table and how you can too. It's with the use of private lenders. You see, on the very first deal that I ever did back in 2008, the very first flip we ever did, I had to have money because the banks stopped loaning money in 2008 during that financial crisis that we had in the country. And I had to find a way to make it work, and I didn't have any extra cash laying around. But I had 2 deals under contract that I had to purchase and renovate and cover the holding costs and everything else. So when I found my first private lender, I simply asked her, could I borrow the purchase price and the renovation costs and a little bit of money for holding costs along the way? She was more than happy to do that because I was paying her 10% on her money. So if you can borrow all the money up front, you won't have any cash pressure throughout a flip. So how you might look at that is private lenders can loan 100% or 110% of your deal. Remember this line, cash is king. The biggest mistake that most new investors make is they don't properly allot to have enough cash involved to keep the deal rolling. If you run out of cash, people stop renovating houses, people stop working for you, and then you're in a tough situation. So be prepared and have enough cash on hand. Remember, it doesn't have to be your cash, but you've got to prepare for it. Your job is to manage cash flow. Okay, Glenn, that all sounds great, but what if I'm starting with zero? Okay, well, number one, you're not alone. Number two, here are a few ways you can do it. You can do, like I said before, 100% financing or 110% financing with OPM or other people's money. You have to be resourceful and be creative to put this together. Number two, do what I call a JV or a joint venture with someone that does have money. Now you might have to give up 50% of your profit or more, but if someone else brings money to the table and you can bring the sweat equity, that's a great way to get your first few deals done. Remember, once you start to have experience, success will attract more success. And once your story starts being developed, you're going to be able to go out and get more money from more sources at better rates. If you want to flip, but you're worried about money, the most important thing you can do is to totally understand and know your numbers. Go watch our video, How to Evaluate a Flip Deal Like a Pro, where I'll show you how to evaluate rehab costs and after repair value step by step so you can make smarter offers, you can pitch confidently to lenders, and avoid getting in over your head. Link is in the description right below.